What it do, what it do, what it do, fight family. Man, we got a lot to catch up to, uh, a lot to break down. I want to give you my full breakdown on what happened with one time Keith Thurman and Sebastian Fundora. There's been a lot of talk about Keith Thurman. They want him to like retire out of the sport. Seems like whenever these guys, are up there a little bit or get a little bit of an ass whooping, some of these guys that don't got the stomach to report it or to keep these guys in the game quickly they're starting to say, one time it's over, you looked old, this and that. There's been a lot of fighters that have come back and they've quickly, after a loss, have tried to write them fighters off. I don't think one time Keith Thurman is anywhere near out of the possibility or realm of being done. We're going to talk about that. And the biggest fight, I believe, of this year. There has been a lot of big fights so far that have kicked off the year, but there is no fight like this fight right here. Mama, they coming for the belts. Mama, listen, them Philly cats, they outside. Is Jerome Boots Ennis in them outside? Yo, get the Nerf guns. You know what I'm saying? Because they coming. They coming. Philly's coming for our belts. Motherfucking Philly. We gonna talk about that. Puerto Rico and United States about to clash, and it's gonna be a banger. We gonna talk about all that and more. So lock in, tune in, subscribe to the channel, become a Round One Sports Talk member, and remember, let's talk boxing. Woo. Boy, I tell you, sometimes, you know, I got a lot on my mind right now because when it rains, it pours. Maybe later on in the show, I'll share some things with you guys and stuff because you guys are like a part of my family right now. You know what I'm saying? So you guys are like, whenever I'm like in deep thought or something, I can share with you guys. And it's just been a lot of things. You know, so maybe later on we'll talk about it. But let's talk boxing right now because I need to get my mind out of a lot of things right now. Trust me, really. You know what I mean? So look, the Sebastian Fundora and one time Keith Thurman fight kicked off Saturday night. And going into the fight, I felt that Sebastian Fundora was going to be too much for one time Keith Thurman. And one time Keith Thurman was not going to be able to solve that problem on the first crack. One of the fighters in particular that got two shots at Sebastian Fundora was Tim Tszyu. But you got to remember, that Tim Tszyu learned a valuable lesson on that day when he entered the ring with Sebastian Fundora for the second time. He learned that yes, he had seen things, he had experienced how to fight Sebastian Fundora, such a unique fighter with all his attributes, his height, his length, his reach. And Tim Tszyu said to himself, if I got a chance to fight him again, I would know how to fight him better. The one thing that the fighter didn't keep in mind, I guess, is that also Sebastian Fundora fought you. And if he had another opportunity or crack at you, that he also learned from the fight. And it turned out that Sebastian Fundora is a bigger problem and becoming because with each fight he's getting that much better, utilizing his reach that he was criticized heavily in the beginning of his career because he did not use all his attributes. He did not use his height. He did not use his reach. He made himself small, or he tried to in the ring with the guys. Sebastian Fundora was in some bloody fights. He's a real dog. And sometimes when you look at a fighter from the outside. Never judge a book by its cover. It's true. You take a look at Sebastian Fundora and he looks like one of those, oh, shucks type dudes. You know what I'm saying? He got the glasses, slender, and if you were, just because if he's so tall. So if you bumped into him just for him being that tall, you might avoid that too anyway. But if you were happen to be another slender 6'6", 6'5" dude, and you bumped into him, you like a Nipsey Hussle type dude. Braids from the hood, and you ran into Sebastian Fundora at a movie theater and bumped into, and you turned around on that gangster. Homeboy, Sebastian Fundora will pack you up. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, when you hear him on interviews, Sebastian, he starts talking and then he no, well, he did good, but he ain't better than me in this and this. He's a fighter. You can see it. So what happened? Where did it all go wrong for one-time Keith Thurman? And I believe it all went wrong from the very beginning. I told the boxing world, who did you get to spar? What fighters did you bring in to emulate Sebastian Fundora? I told you there were going to be situations in this fight Keith Thurman was going to be encountering for the first time. And a lot of other boxers and some coaches that I heard talk, it's not that Sebastian Fundora's got to be the greatest boxer in the world or even be the craftiest. Size matters. It matters. And Sebastian Fundora is too big. He's too long. What he lacks in skills, his attributes make up for. And I said he was going to make one-time Keith Thurman look very bad. And that one time, he was going to be trying to figure out things in the moment. And I felt like he wasn't on that kind of level. Keith is a crafty, slick boxer, a bit of a showman. Sebastian Fundora shut that shit down. There was no showtime out of Keith Thurman. There was just, at some times, confusion, desperation, uncertainty. That's all you saw on Keith Thurman's face. He didn't know what the hell to do. He didn't know to circle to the left or to the right. He did, and then what Sebastian Fundora did really, really, really well in the fight, really well, right, is that he technically doesn't need to really cut off the ring, Sebastian. His steps, just 1 or 2 steps, he'll be right up on you. And then all of a sudden, he's towering over you, just punching down. And as we all know, in fighting in the fight world, your momentum punching down at an angle, your punch can be 2 times to 3 times its strength. If ever someone's sitting down on a chair, right? And you hit him, don't try to lower yourself to hit him at his. No, use your weight. Shift your weight up like this and bring it down with you and bring the hammer down on him. Your punch is going to be a lot heavier. So at the way that Sebastian was punching down on on one-time Keith Thurman, he was I knew that it was going to be accumulation of damage. I felt Keith Thurman might have toughened it out, into the later rounds. To all the people that have ever said Sebastian Fundora can't crack, guys, by the 4th round, just the 4th round, Keith Thurman's face was showing signs of being in a battle already. Only 4 rounds. By the 5th round, one time Keith Thurman was cut, bleeding, running backward. The referee was asking him to show him something. By the 5th round, in the 6th round, the fight got stopped, which I felt that it was a great stoppage. The referee did his job. No matter what Keith Thurman said after the fight on the poll, I heard it. He said, F the referee, that referee should never be in a world title fight. No, Keith Thurman, that referee helped you. He helped you, and the referee did the right thing. Keith Thurman had the audacity to say, I had him right where I wanted him. Can you believe that shit? Can you believe that shit? Keith Thurman was getting his, he was never going to catch up to Sebastian Fundora. And just to like give you a measuring stick. One time, my man, you said the referee stopped the fight early? Okay. That was the 6th round. This is a 12-round fight. Add 6 more rounds of that and you getting tired onto your face. Keith Thurman, your mother wouldn't have recognized you. You were just going to be another Erickson Lubin. Maybe worse. Maybe worse. You add 6 more rounds. Did you look at one time Keith Thurman's face when he refused to go to the hospital because he wants to be a tough guy? Why? That's pride. That's pride 101 right there, pride. Because he's never been stopped, TKO'd in his entire career. One time, he was embarrassed and he was trying to shift the blame on something else of what caused him the fight. No, what caused you the fight were Sebastian Fundora's hands. That's what caused you the fight. Where one time Keith Thurman went wrong in this fight, if you ask me, he got in the ring. That's where he went wrong. You should have never been in the ring with that dude, Keith. Never. No. You should have let somebody else take that challenge on. You were a bit more up there in age. Keith, you would have had a better performance against any of the other champions. You would have, or any of the top. You put one time Keith Thurman in there with Virgil. Put him in there with Virgil. It would have been a better fight. Virgil might have beat him. I think I would have, I don't know, I probably would have sided with Virgil in that fight, but it wouldn't have had looked like that Sebastian Fundora Keith Thurman fight. It would have not looked like anything like that. We would have seen a lot better version of Keith Thurman fighting somebody his own size. That's why I know Keith Thurman is not done. You cannot judge Keith Thurman for that performance when the way he looked against Sebastian Fundora. No. Sebastian made him look that way. But I guarantee you, I promise you, that if Keith Thurman does not take an extensive layoff, he's going to have to take some time off to let those injuries heal. But meantime, in between time, Keith Thurman, you can train, okay, with those injuries. You just don't spar. But you can stay sharp the entire time. It doesn't mean like I got to heal from these injuries, so I got to stay on my couch. No. Your hands and your feet work just fine. Just don't spar until your face heals. Stay sharp. I guarantee you, if Keith Thurman stays the course, his very next fight, he's going to shine. I guarantee it. He's not done. And everybody's like, did you see how bad he looked? You don't understand. You don't understand. Listen, Lubin would have never took that fight with Sebastian Fundora back then. He'd probably be world champion right now. I swear to God, he probably would have been world champion now. Lubin was that good. That beating, it took a lot out of him. A lot. My coach said the Virgil fight really didn't show if he was his punch resistance because he got caught early right in the temple. Anybody can get knocked out with that kind of shot. Anybody with that kind of power too. And you get caught there. Yeah. So really didn't spell that like Lubin is done. He just got caught with a walk-off home run. Even in the beginning of his career, Lubin would have never have gotten knocked out. Before that shot, Virgil hit him. My coach says he still would have went out. He caught him on the button. Bing. So, he goes, let me see some more of Lubin and I'll tell you if he's done. But he got caught way too early and in a good shot that he's not sure. My coach said. He said he's not sure if Lubin's like, because a lot of people, see, that's when a fighter loses, pack it up, you're done, you're finished. They wanted Lubin to retire, now they're asking for one-time Keith Thurman to retire. And it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. Like, I'm sitting here saying to myself, how is it that we even think that some of these fighters are like, look, there are certain situations, right? Because as I think about it, there are certain situations that, yeah, there are fighters that are fighting way past, and they're not really looking good. Jojo Diaz is another fighter that just lost that people quickly went on and said, Jojo, pack it up. Your career's over. And I'm on the other line. I'm like, nah, I don't think Jojo's done. I know it looks bad, really bad. Out of his last 10, he lost 8. He only won 2 fights. Yeah, that looks bad. But he has to understand that he was still going through some shit back then. And Jojo needs to stay focused, get back. Everybody's path to what you want to accomplish, some of us, the world just doesn't lay down for you. You're going to go through some really bad times. And I think fighters like Jojo, like one-time Keith Thurman, and the list goes on, are fighters that have recently lost and they have asked to fight, oh, you should be done. Some of these guys are not done for me. No. And how could you just discard the fighters? There were a lot of times where I've like looked back on situations in boxing, and I can remember when Manny Pacquiao got knocked out. There's Manny Pacquiao retire, no more for the sport. Now he comes back and he fights a world champion in Mario Barrio, and he goes 12 rounds with him. He goes 12 rounds with him. And some people say that Manny could have pulled that fight off. Was he done? Man, he's fighting on a world-class champion level at 40-some years old. So I think that, we need to really calm down when fighters lose. It's a slippery slope because I can't disagree in some cases. There are some cases I watch, man, you need to stop. Just let it go. Let it go. You know what I'm saying? Like, I remember when Amir Khan, man, I didn't feel like Amir Khan was done because he was so good offensively. Like, yo, Amir Khan can fight, man. That dude, boxing speed, man. Go watch Amir Khan when he was like serious and he wasn't fucking around. You can tell in some of his fights, he lacked a little bit of the training and shit. But what really felt for like a lot of us, Amir Khan became the definition of chinny. He was just getting knocked out by just one shots, like, and we was like, yo, Amir, you gotta stop. We don't want to see you getting knocked out like this. You gotta stop. And in cases like that, you're like, no, man, I hope you just pack it up, bro. Because as fighters, no one actually knows what your punch count is. Like, I don't know how many punches can I take to the face before my body and my career suffers from it. I can no longer take punches like I once did. No one knows when that happens or why it happens. or why a fighter becomes chinny when he had an iron chin throughout his career. It's just something that happens. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes fighters end with the iron chin. Julio Cesar Chavez, you know, um, Chavez he was slowing down. He was taking a lot of punches. That was Chavez thing. Not that Chavez was ever chinny. When was Chavez ever chinny in his entire career? Yeah, right. Some fighters never get that curse, but some fighters like Amir Khan, bro. Did you see how Canelo knocked that man out? He spun him. Like I was like, yo, Amir, you gotta stop this. Nah, but I didn't feel like that with Keith Thurman. I just felt like Keith Thurman could not turn into Keith Thurman because he didn't understand the distance managing. Then he fought an entirely bad fight. The game plan for Sebastian, it looked bad because there was no game plan for Sebastian. He didn't train for a guy like that, like I was telling you. He was going, one time literally thought that all he needed to do was to stay in shape, get a skill, hang a bag from a ceiling, and throw big shots over the top at an object that is not moving. He seriously thought that that's all he needed with all his boxing experience and knowledge to beat Sebastian Fundora. Sebastian Fundora taught Keith Thurman a valuable lesson in boxing that attributes, height, reach, weight size, it all means something. You're not going to overlook 6'6", 80-inch arm reach. And Sebastian Fundora taught Keith Thurman that lesson. That size matters. It matters. And so it's like these guys, like, there's sometimes their egos are too big for themselves. And one time Keith Thurman seriously thought in his head that his boxing experience was that much better than Sebastian Fundora. Now, going into the fight, all the fans that felt like, and the new one time Keith Thurman, once he got starched, one time Keith Thurman became old, washed up, he needs to retire. They fed him a lamb to slaughter to Sebastian Fundora. Now, all of a sudden, Sebastian Fundora was this imposing figure, and one time was nothing. Ain't that some shit? Ain't that boxing for you? Ain't that boxing? What's up, Pug? What up? What's up, guys? OG round one, that was for the camera? What? If Boots don't have feet like Bud Pudge, he loses to if Boots don't have feet like Bud, he loses to Fundora. Nah, I don't think you need footwork to be Fundora. You don't want to play that game with Fundora. I don't care if you have the best salsa feet in boxing. You could tap dance all around that ring if you want to. He's gonna tap your ass and pause. You know what I'm saying, Sebastian? One time Keith Thurman fought a bad fight against Sebastian because first of all, that's what Keith Thurman tried to do. He tried to use his footwork on side-to-side movement, sometimes typically favoring one side, and he was going the wrong way, fighting a lefty. Don't dance, don't move, don't shift, don't think that you're going to slide. That's not footwork, like on the sense of the footwork lulling a fighter to sleep. Being able to shift your feet, create angles, you know what I'm saying, and shit like that. No. What I believe is going to beat Sebastian Fundora is forward aggression matched with intensity and power. He's got long arms. He's got long arms, and no matter how good Sebastian Fundora is on the inside, he typically needs to take a step back to give himself a little room because his arms are too long. By the time the fighter, the smaller guys were in and he was punching with the guy going like this, if you go back and you watch any of Sebastian Fundora's film, he creates distance. It's just enough for that his arms sneak in the shots because they're too long. If you notice in those exchanges, Sebastian, he has to dip down a little and he gets smaller. When he does that, that's the moment right there. That's where you're going to hit him right there. You're going to put the pressure on him. Boom, boom. You're going to get close. He's going to break distance. Hit his hand. Hit this part of his hand. Hit this. Boom. You hit his hand. It knocks it down. There's your entrance. And don't hesitate. Don't watch the punch. Don't just know it's there. You're going to clip that tree. I guarantee it. Boots Ennis, fighters like Boots, Virgil Ortiz, Xander, they're the only three that got a chance of beating this fucking problem. Sebastian Fundora is a problem, bro. He is a problem. And the more times he fights, the more confidence he gets, the better he gets. He's got a great family structure, you know. They're really into boxing. He's a student of boxing. That's what makes Sebastian so dangerous. Notice he's not partying in Vegas after the fight. He doesn't have any chains. The WBC, yo, did you see the chain? He got a chain. You know what I'm saying? Yo, the WBC is the shit. All right? And Sebastian Fundora was like, bro, I'll fight you guys for your belt, whoop your ass, and you can keep your belt. You can keep your belt because I'm good with the WBC. You heard him. You heard him. Best organization in boxing right there. The green belt. You know what I'm saying? You know, besides the WBO, the Puerto Rican belt. You know what I'm saying? Right? Can't leave them out, you know? But you seen Sebastian rocking the chain? Yo, the charm? Yo. You seen Sam Lukowicz looking at it, sizing it up? Yo, Sebastian, you really don't rock chains. Let me get that. Yo, Sam, back up. You know what I'm saying? He was touching the charm a little too much, bro. Sam, get your hands off my... Yo, I don't like nobody touching my chain. If you're not my girlfriend or like my brother, don't ever touch my chain, bro. Don't do it. You know, I'll feel a certain kind of way, man. I don't know, maybe it's street mentality, but don't touch my shit. You know what I mean? Right? Y'all know what I mean, right? And yo, the WBC rocked out, bro. Hey, gave him the you know, and those I talk about it. That chain and that charm, probably on the back of it, yo, Sebastian can get it engraved. On this night, I faced one-time Keith Thurman. You know, you put down Sebastian and Keith Thurman on the back of it. 30 years from now, that's a 1-on-1. That's there's no other Sebastian Fundora. There's no other Keith Thurman. You know, Ryan Garcia got one. That's a 1-on-1. Terrence Crawford got the real shit, right? He got the ring. Well, the charm is the real shit too, right? It's not like, but it's just, okay, I'm sorry, I'll take that back. Terrence got some different shit. How about that? He just got some different shit from the WBC. His shit, the ring screws off. And they got the ring, they fought like a replica in gold of the event. That's a 1-on-1. You know how much that's going to be worth in 30 years? Like one of the young guys, right? He's like 14 years old, watching boxing. This is his era. He's 45, 50 years old years later, and he got some money. He did something with himself. And that ring goes off on an auction. That's the circle of life. People, you know, go, oh shit, Terrence Crawford ring? And since the ring's like 100 and some thousand, what's the bidding going to start at? And that's going to be a collector. Yo, and vice versa. There'll be a young Mexican guy out there, very successful, maybe entrepreneur, businessman, whatever, and he got a couple bucks. And in the Mexican culture, so what? Saul lost that fight. He was a part of it. And that ring right there, so it has a part of Mexican history. It's made by the WBC for one. A Mexican fighter was involved in it. He might have not won, but you think there's not a Mexican dude out there that if that ring went out in an auction, and they said, look, the fight, the ring that Saul, man, they're gonna be in front row like this with their court. Can I get bing, bing, 250, bing, like yo. There are people that would buy stuff like that. Who would that be? You know what I'm saying? You know, like collectors. Like, yo, if I saw that ring, man, listen, you outbid me in there. Come outside, bro, with that ring. Let me talk to you out here. Yo, let me show me the ring. Yo. Dame la sortilla, pendejo. Yo, collectors, like, I like to collect some things, so I know what that's like. So the WBC commemorates these nights. They make these special belts, and these belts are one-on-ones. Although you might see these belts in various fights, no, what's important is what fight those belts were made for. It's not like Saul Canelo Alvarez with every title defense, the WBC made him a tricked out belt for every event. So when you look back in boxing history, yeah, those belts are technically not considered a world title belt. Like the ones they trick out, that's not a world title. No, it's a trophy. It's a trophy. What makes that trophy so valuable is the champion that won it. Now we're talking. That's a Saul Canelo Alvarez belt. And each of them, bro, those things are going to be valuable. Really valuable. What do you got, like 6, 7 of them? Right? Bro, them just go on an auction or some shit. Or let some rich tycoon Mexican dudes find out. Saul's like, yeah, I'm gonna auction this shit off. What they wouldn't give to have one of those belts in their office on a wall. That would be beautiful. Every day I walk in, I touch it. I'd be like, hey, Saul. You know what I'm saying? Yo, I'm going to wear it. I'm going to do some crazy shit with it. Let's not talk about it. You know what I'm saying? It got something to do with some wine, edible panties, and I'm going to be wearing the belt. Like, you know what I'm saying? With my girl. You know what I mean? Yo, I'm going to want to feel like a champion. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like, it's like the Stanley Cup, right? All the NHL guys talk about it. There's only one Stanley Cup. It started off like this big. Each year or whatever, they add another tier. Or how many years, I forget what it is. And they put the team. So when you win, now this motherfucking Stanley Cup, yo, that shit's like this tall. That shit's like 3 feet, 4 feet tall now. And every year, it gets bigger and bigger to hold. But the one thing about the Stanley Cup is Wayne Gretzky, all the greats that played in their sport picked up the same trophy. So when you pick it up as a new guy and you won the new one, the things that Stanley Cup has witnessed, if that motherfucker had a soul, it would tell crazy stories now, wouldn't it? Right? Everything people did, like the players, I think each player got like 24 hours with it. And it's so important. It's got its own security detail, the Stanley Cup. There are guys that go wherever that trophy goes. And they make sure the party don't get too crazy. Shit don't get thrown around, dented. You know what I'm saying? People do crazy shit. So, But yo, man, like, that's just history about some of these events and situations that happen in boxing. And Sebastian Fundora and the WBC recognized the moment and they honored him with a piece to commemorate the moment. And Sebastian Fundora and his family will probably have that in their family for a very long time. It'll get passed down generations. This was your great great grandfather, Sebastian. He was a boxer, and this is the charm that he won when he whooped Keith Thurman's ass. You know what I mean? Like, so, yeah, man. And jewelry can be a real symbol. God rest his soul, Nipsey Hussle. He died. They got all his chains and like the rapper Hall of Fame thing, all the chains he wore. That's really Nipsey Hussle's chains. There's somebody in the world that would buy that shit outright. Like not maybe wear it, but put it up too. Be like, damn, because that's their favorite rapper or whatever. And it goes like that. It's whatever you're into, I guess. But yeah, man, WBC be rocking out, man, and I like that. But as for one time Keith Thurman, I don't feel he's done. I feel that he's still good for the sport, and I hope that he stays focused, stays the course, and fights. But listen, guys, let's talk about this. The WBC is trash. Yo, listen, they're the best. They're the best organization. Every organization has their histories. I know where you're gonna go with this. Don't even waste your time. I know a lot of stories about the WBC. You don't got to convince me of what they've done. You don't got to convince me on the situations like letting fighters like Ryan Garcia quickly fight for a WBC world title. I've always told you this. I'm no stranger to what they are, but I'm not here to shit on boxing. I'm here to promote it and keep us talking about it, the excitement of it. And how could I sit here and judge the WBC? Edwin, what the fuck do you know about running an organization belt world title? Tell me, Edwin. And I'm talking to myself. Who the hell are you? Have you ever invented a belt? Do you know what it's like to deal with mobsters, gangsters, politicians, boxers, promoters on a daily basis? Have you ever been in a room where someone came in with a fucking suitcase of money and said, do this? Have you ever been in any of these situations, Edwin? No. And you're going to sit there, Edwin, and say you would be noble, honor, and all this other shit, and you would have done the right thing every time? Edwin, what did life teach you? That everybody has their price. Even the most noble of men, whether it's money, diamonds, or gold, women, property, cars, a thing. Everybody has their price. It's just business. And sometimes your business can be aired out on a world stage. And some business endeavors that you've done might come back and bite you later on. Maybe I shouldn't have did that 20 years ago, right? Okay. But which one of them are better? Angels. Which one? When you say the WBC ain't shit, in comparison to who? In comparison to who? At least they do this kind of shit for the fighters. They made Navarrete that day, that jacket, that Mexican jacket. Shit, they've even done things for American fighters. They made Tank Davis that freedom belt, didn't they? And Tank Davis doesn't even fight for the WBC. The WBC, they say, oh, what do you do with the money? Who gives a fuck what they do with the fucking sanctioning fees? That's not your business. Whatever they do with the sanctioning fee money is not your concern. What you need to be is pay your sanctioning fees so the belt stays alive. So that we can pay the secretary and the fucking people to put together and sanction your fights. Shit ain't free. How the hell am I going to pay my staff? On hopes and dreams? No, sanction fee money. And we keep the sport going. Where's the problem? Where's the problem? A couple broke ass motherfuckers don't want to pay no goddamn sanctioning fees because you're greedy. No, pay your 13%. Like every other, if Muhammad Ali, Floyd Mayweather, Mike Tyson, all these people pay sanctioning fees, then who the hell you think you are? You think you better than everybody else? All of a sudden you're gonna come in. No, it sounds like you ran off on the plug and you're stirring shit up. Like, oh wait, why are we paying sanctioning fees? No. Pay sanctioning fees. Keep the belt alive. The belts don't have arenas. They can't charge ticket overhead. They got to go wherever the promoter puts them. There's no other way they would stay alive. You're going to have just a belt floating around every time we fight, we exchange it? You think that's really going to work and that's going to keep it valuable? No. The organization that's been around with boxing and their belt represents the champion. Thank God for that. Without them, how will we ever crown a champion? How? Just because he beat him. It would be chaotic. You'd have champions in Russia, Japan. You think they would actually honor that? The reason why these belts are something is because of the backing by the organization that makes the WBO a real thing. You gotta pay sanctioning fees to that. That's a no-brainer. And then you got guys saying, oh, these sanctioning fees, where are they going? What are you doing with the money? Bro, that is not your business. We could take your money and go blow it in Vegas with prostitutes and drugs. It's still not your business. We can pocket every dollar. But guess what? We are doing, making you a champion, giving you something to fight for, making the world stage for you with all the other men and women that went after these belts. Made them valuable. Thank God. Thank God we have a real trophy. Something real. Not a Sufa hubcap. What's that Sufa belt ever mean? Hey, you don't pay? That shit ain't back? You ain't got no legacy on that? That's going to take 30 years to build. We already got it. And because of one or two apples that want to avoid paying sanctioning fees to try to start, bro, you're just cheap. You're just cheap. That's all. You don't want to pay the bill. Type person. I've seen people like this before. Try to diminish the price. Try to do. They make you think like, huh? No, you cheap ass mofo. Like, I would be honored to pay sanctioning fees. Are you kidding me? If I ever had the dedication and the discipline when I was younger, and I let these streets manipulate me to money fast and that fast life, bro, if I ever had the opportunity in the WBA, the WBC, any of them ever called me up and was like, yo, shit, I needed to take that call. And then any of them called me up and said, you want to compete for our belt? Well, these are the sanctioning fees. Bro, I would hop on that like this because the recognition, the notoriety, the stamp of the approval that these belts give to you, just ask Ryan Garcia right now. Just ask him. Hold on, guys. I got to take this call. I apologize. I apologize for that, guys. I'm sorry for that brief. Um, oh, fuck, man. Ah, man, when it rains, it pours it, right? Life, right? Uh, you know, you guys know that like a month ago, I lost my daughter. My 27-year-old daughter passed away. She tried to take her asthma inhaler, and her lungs locked on her. She collapsed and never woke up. Uh, Yesterday, unfortunately, her mother, which was my ex, um, she uh, she never went home after my daughter passed away. She never went to the house, so she was hospitalized during this time. So it's been about 20 something days, and she finally came home. She was home for 2 days. 2 days. Uh, she passed away yesterday. So my kid's mother passed away yesterday, and I lost my daughter like like 3.5 weeks ago. So the funeral parlor just called me, and they're asking me to sign the papers for my kid's mother. So that's what I'm doing right now. And it's like when it rains, it pours, right? She the best way I could describe it, she died from a broken heart. She just turned herself off, I guess, and she went after my daughter. That's the only thing I can think of. She just turned herself off. She couldn't deal with it. It's not like I'm dealing with it any better. I'm just I just rather drown it sometimes. Just bury it, have a laugh. But now I just lost both of them. You know, it's not like I was with her mother. I've been separated from her mother for like 20 years, but she still was a big part of my life. And she's my childhood sweetheart. She was actually the first girl I ever dated. Uh, and she just didn't want to be here anymore. It's just I'm sorry I dropped that shit on you guys, but you guys are here right now with me. And that phone call came here right now. I was holding it the whole show, like I was just kept going, but reality stops and just it. So now I have to go to another funeral later on this week, say goodbye to her and my sons and my other daughter. They lost their mother. They lost their mom. When it rains, it pours, man. I can't catch a fucking break right now, man. Ah, I can't catch a break. Ah, yeah, man. It's all good, man. It's all good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. Uh, nah, I ain't gonna start thinking like that. I'm not gonna start thinking like that. I start thinking like, dang God, like Man, shit catching up to me now, huh? No, it's just Edwin. It's just life, Edwin. It's just life. Circle of life, Edwin. God ain't mad at you. Ah, shit. Anyway, guys, look. Um, I'll hop on later, man. I'm sorry, guys. That happened. It kind of like knocked the sails out of my wind right now. I was trying to like talk on here and just run for a little while, just run away from everything, But I'm gonna have to like deal with this right now. I gotta call my kids and tell them that I gotta sign these papers and stuff, and we gotta get her a dress and dress her up well, and say our goodbyes. Uh, man, look, it's just surreal. This is like surreal, man. But hey, fight fans, I hope you had a great time here. I didn't mean to deflate everything, man, but that's what's going on in my world. That's what I'm dealing with, bro. So, fight fans, I'll be on tonight, man. I just got to keep going. And I hope you guys tune in here with me. You know what I'm saying? Show a little support and shit, like for your boy. And give me something to do. Give me something to talk. I'm going to need to laugh. You guys know how I am. I like to like keep a lot of good energy. So I gotta go address this. I have things to do right now. I can't run all the time. You gotta confront your problems in life. I gotta show up. So I gotta go do these things. And fight fans, thank you for tuning in. Please don't forget to hit that like, subscribe to the channel. And like always, I'm on to the next one after this one here at Round One Sports Talk. Peace.